so we can slow the spread of the virus. So please continue to wash your hands regularly and thoroughly, practice good coughing and sneeze etiquette, and continue to observe social distancing. Remember, you are at the front line. I want to briefly restate the new restrictive measures introduced last week to slow down the spread of COVID-19, because we know there's still a demand for information. So the Government decided that everyone should stay at home until the 12th of April, except for the following situations: to travel to and from work or for the purposes of work only where that work is an essential health, social care or other essential service and cannot be done from home; to shop for essential food, beverage and household goods; to attend medical appointments and collect medicines and other health products; for vital family reasons such as providing care to children, older or vulnerable people; to take brief physical individual exercise within 2 kilometres of your home, and you may take your children from your household outdoors as long as you adhere to the strict 2-metre physical distancing rule with people outside your household. You can also move for farming reasons, for food production and/or the care of animals. Guidance on the various categories of essential work are available on gov.ie. As stated in the previous guidance, all employees should work from home if at all possible. Where it's not possible to work from home, please remember the relevant public health guidance at all times. To assist with those who will continue to work, a Workplace Protection and Improvement Guide has been put in place by the National Standards Authority of Ireland, which provides practical business guidance on physical distancing, home working, staggered work and what to do if an employee is symptomatic. More information is available on gov.ie. So, cocooning. To spread the spread of coronavirus, vulnerable people are being asked to cocoon. This means they should stay at home at all times and avoid face-to-face contact. Those at risk are those people aged 70 or over, everyone living in a residential home or long-term care, people who have serious medical conditions that make them vulnerable, and further information on which medical conditions this applies to is available on gov.ie and from the Health Service Executive. To facilitate cocooning measures, local authorities were advised by Minister Murphy to activate the framework for local authority community support. Helplines and support structures were put in place over the weekend. A local authority community response forum will meet in each local authority area to coordinate and ramp up to help those to ensure all vulnerable members of our communities affected by these new arrangements are appropriately supported to access food, medicines and other needs you might have, including transport for medical appointments. If a vulnerable person needs to make contact immediately, they can contact the Alone helpline at 0818 222 024. We will shortly make available a complete list of all your local helpline numbers for each local authority, which will be operating from early morning to late evening. It is important to say that we are keeping the rest of the health service going as well. Cancer care, emergency departments, mental health services and all of the rest of the acute care that we can provide, we are continuing to provide. If you need urgent or emergency care, if for example you have heart attack or stroke symptoms, go to the ED or call an ambulance. We also want to advise people that it's important to look after your mental health in these difficult times and insofar as possible remind people to stay connected with each other by telephone and other technology. But above all, we need you to stay at home as much as possible and remember, we are all in this together. Financial supports. We are aware that these restrictions will have significant impact on the economy. As such, the Government has put in place an unprecedented level of financial support schemes to help people through this difficult and worrying time. Last Tuesday, the Temporary Wage Subsidy Scheme was introduced to support employers impacted by COVID-19. This scheme will enable employers to keep staff on their payroll throughout the pandemic by refunding 70% of an employee's take-home pay, up to a maximum of $410 per week per qualifying employee. This allows employers to retain links with employees for when business picks up after the crisis and eases the burden on the Department of Employment Affairs and Social Protection. Revenue has made additional resources available to support the increased number of employers who may now need to register for the Temporary Wage Subsidy Scheme following last Friday's announcement of additional restricted measures aimed at suppressing the transmission of COVID-19. Almost 20,500 employers are now registered with Revenue for the Temporary Wage Subsidy Scheme. Revenue generated the first tranche of payments and refunds to employers under the scheme last Friday. These payments, worth $5.1 million, will be in the bank accounts of the majority of respective employers today, the 30th of March. Today, Revenue has generated further refunds under the scheme worth $8.6 million. These payments will be in the bank accounts of the majority of employers tomorrow, the 31st of March. Revenue will be updating their advice to businesses in relation to March-April VAT returns and April PAYE employers' returns very shortly. Other business supports. A business support call centre is open to provide information on government supports for businesses and enterprises affected by COVID-19. More information is available on gov.ie. In addition, a $200 million Strategic Banking Corporation of Ireland working capital scheme for eligible businesses impacted by COVID-19 is now open. Loans of up to $1.5 million will be available at reduced rates, with up to the first $500,000 unsecured. Please go to sbci.gov.ie for more information. If you're an employee who has been affected by COVID-19, there are a range of income supports available to you. You can learn more about these supports and apply for them by visiting gov.ie and going to the COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment. Employees whose employers have re-employed them on foot of the temporary wage subsidy payment and now wish to close their application for the COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment can find helpful links on gov.ie. Over 283,000 payments related to these are being made this week. Unemployment payments have issued and will be in a bank or post office accounts tomorrow. This represents 90% of the applications received by Thursday, the 26th of March. 15,000 applications were deemed ineligible for a variety of reasons, for example, because individuals were not fully employed, aged under 18 years, or were not previously in employment. In addition, 15,000 customers incorrectly completed their applications by providing an incorrect PPSN number or an IBAN number. These customers will be contacted over the next few days to resolve these matters. The quickest way to submit an application for payment is online, and information how to apply is available on gov.ie. For employees who may have been temporarily placed on a shorter working week, they may avail of the short-time work support scheme. That information is also on gov.ie. The payment is made for the days you are no longer working. For example, if your working week has been reduced from a 5-day work pattern to a 3-day work pattern, you can receive income support for the other 2 days based on a job seeker's benefit rate of pay. Again, go to gov.ie for more information on that. Education. Under new public health measures, all schools will be closed to staff until the 12th of April, except in special limited circumstances. Teachers and staff have until 6 p.m. on Monday, March 30th, to access buildings and prepare what they need for remote lessons. Travel and personal interaction should be minimised. An exception is in place for the schools in the school meals programme. This essential service will continue, and details will be made available of local networks that can support distribution if schools need help. Supporting citizens abroad. Over 130 Irish passengers and their families departed Lima safely yesterday. As part of our shared global commitment to respond to the COVID-19 crisis, the flight also carried a number of British and EU citizens. This has been a complex undertaking given tight restrictions across the country and in airports and airspace. Our embassy arranged for the transfer by road of many of our citizens from remote parts of Peru to the airport in Lima, journeys which in some cases took over 24 hours. The Taoiseach spoke with Peru's Foreign Minister on Thursday, the 26th of March, and Ireland is very grateful to the Peruvian authorities for facilitating the departure of our citizens. Sincere thanks is also due to our EU and British partners for their close cooperation on this work. Our embassy is in ongoing contact with a small number of Irish citizens who remain in Peru and continue to provide all possible consular assistance. An update on the provision of passport services. The public office of the Passport Office will be closed from Monday 29th, and you can still apply for your passport using Passport Online, although as you will understand, we cannot guarantee the usual turnaround times on passport service delivery. Some staff from the Passport Service have been redeployed to assist public service delivery and to provide consular assistance to Irish citizens abroad during this public health emergency, so we ask for your understanding during this period. More information on accessing services is available on gov.ie. Update on homelessness services. For the duration of the current crisis, staff working in homeless NGOs providing emergency accommodation to homeless households are deemed essential personnel. Staff involved in the provision of private emergency accommodation in hotels and B&Bs are also categorised as providing essential services to our most vulnerable. The local authorities are working closely with the Health Service Executive and NGO service operators to maintain services and to keep the movement of individuals in emergency accommodation to a minimum. Over 560 beds have been introduced in the Dublin region, and significant space has also been secured in Cork and Galway, all to ensure that we can meet isolation needs that might arise and to comply with social distancing requirements. The Minister for Housing, Planning and Local Government said that he and his department continue to work with the Health Service Executive in order to cater for the needs of those in emergency accommodation. They will continue to closely monitor the situation as it evolves and offer support as needed. So, additional guidance in relation to open spaces. So, parks and gardens and other spaces remain open to people to continue to look after their physical health by taking exercise as individuals or with their children. However, please remember the following. Stay local, no more than 2 kilometres from your home. Outdoor amenities are only open to local visitors, and car parks at these sites are closed. Keep your distance. Remember to stay 2 metres away from others at all times, unless they're in your household. The OPW have reopened the following sites which were closed over the weekend: St Enda's Park, Doneraile Park, Castletown, Kilkenny Castle Park, the War Memorial, Derrynane and Old Bridge, so that locals who live within a 2 kilometre radius can continue to avail of daily exercise in these sites. Public participation period in the planning system. As a result of the government decision yesterday, Minister Murphy announced that in light of measures taken restricting the movement of people, it is important to extend the public participation periods in the planning system. Government will add 23 days to the statutory time periods for the processing planning applications within the Planning Acts. This is to reflect the period up to Easter Sunday, during which time people have been asked to stay at home. This is to ensure that the integrity of decision-making is upheld and that planning for new development can continue. Work will continue through these new restrictions so that the planning system will be well placed to play its vital role in supporting the recovery when the time comes. Planning applications can continue to be made by post, and authorities can engage with applicants by electronic means, accepting submissions by post and electronic means. Most authorities have online systems for inspecting planning applications. The extended time will also apply to planning appeals, which An Bord Pleanála will continue to receive by post. And more information on all of this is available on gov.ie. We've been looking to see what other concerns have been coming up in the media, so just responding to some of those. So in relation to nursing homes, Minister Harris and the Secretary-General of the Department of Health will today meet with representatives of Nursing Homes Ireland. There have been 17 clusters of the coronavirus in nursing homes, and the Minister has asked the National Public Health Emergency Team to examine the issues in nursing homes when they meet tomorrow. The virus does not discriminate on the basis of age. It can impact any of us. However, doctors say you're more likely to get sick from it if you're over the age of 70. This is why we're asking people over the age of 70 to stay at home. Essential workers over 70. First of all, we are grateful and lucky to have our older citizens who are anxious to play their part and keep working. Generally speaking, we want everyone over 70 to stay at home and not leave. However, some common sense applies. If you're over 70 working in an essential area and you can do that remotely without coming into face-to-face contact with other people or without touching surfaces that other people may have sneezed on, then you can continue to work. For example, a healthcare professional doing teleconsultation from their home. This would also include the older farming community, but again, they must be very careful about not coming into close contact with others. Older farmers should ring family members if they need help, and if that's not possible and the job is essential, please ring your local community support line. There'll be one in each local authority, or contact your local Garda station. Children and families. TUSLA, the Child and Family Agency, continues to provide key services across core areas that support children and families at risk during COVID-19. TUSLA staff around the country are continuing to provide essential frontline services that cannot be delivered remotely. Anyone with a concern about a child's safety or welfare should contact their local duty social work office. If you're experiencing domestic, sexual or gender-based violence, An Garda Síochána want you to call 999. They have assured us that their protective services units are fully staffed. Warning against illegal burning of land. So on Friday, appeals were sent out by various councils to landowners to cease and desist all controlled burning immediately in order to conserve the resource of emergency services during the COVID-19 pandemic. Last night, 3 units of firefighters in Kerry spent 4 hours battling a blaze in Killarney National Park. We want to emphasise that the current pressure on emergency services across the country, and once again we appeal to everyone to be mindful of that strain and avoid any other further demands on their resources. Extension of general driver licence renewals. The Minister for Transport, Tourism, Sport and the Road Safety Authority confirmed on Saturday last that the National Driver Licence Service and the National Car Testing Service, as well as the Commercial Vehicle Testing System, were being suspended until further notice. This suspension was to comply with the new public restrictions announced by the Government on Friday. The Department and the Road Safety Authority are now working on measures to address the implications of suspending these services. Specifically, the new measures will extend the period of validity of the relevant official documents. These measures are expected to be finalised in the coming days, and full details will be publicised at that stage. And then finally, the Health and Safety Authority is currently discussing with public health officials what further guidance may be required to support essential businesses to continue to work while implementing the Department of Health HSE public health recommendations to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Thank you.